Hello and welcome to Mean Reviews, No Stars Given. Tonight we have a heck of a show for you because my guest co-host is international author David Green. He probably thought I was going to say international sex symbol, but he gets very shy about that, so I decided not to do it. You're welcome, David. Before I bring him out, I just wanted to share that this month I've discovered that I like babysitting other authors' pets. One author friend of mine needed somebody to watch his dog for a week, and the other needed somebody to take care of his chickens for 2 weeks. I turned out to be that someone. It's been great so far. So I just wanted to let all my author friends and acquaintances know that if you can get your animals here to my house via the mail or whatever, I'm happy to take care of them for you for free, apparently. Even you, David, you can mail your dogs to my house, and if they are alive, I will take care of them. So, with that public service announcement out of the way, let's bring author David Green out.
Hello there.
Welcome.
How's it going? Will my dogs come back alive if they reach you alive? Is there a guarantee with this?
Oh, no. No,
Okay.
there's no guarantee at all for this. I mean, free service, apparently. I mean, I don't know if it's free, but I mean, nobody's given me any money yet. And I didn't, we'll see what happens, I guess. You know,
Well, it sounds
but
like it's a risk I'm willing to take. Anyway, so let's do it.
I, I did want to say that this is a first for the show in that when I asked the authors if we could review their books, one of them said yes, as long as David Green was the co-host, and that was Nikki DeCaster. So I assume she likes being treated poorly by men that she knows. So I'm assuming her husband is like awful, and that she really loves that. But as I said, a first for us. And before we start the show and get right into the first review, just a quick note about comments. Until now, I've waited until after each review was finished to look at them. But tonight, I'm going to try something new, mix things up a bit. I'm going to try to check them as we go. And there's already some, so I'm going to look at them now. Yeah, that
I thought you were going to
show.
say I'm going to try something new and check the comments before they've been made, which would have been superb.
That is a good. I will write all the comments before the show starts, and just attribute them to people. Um, so if you want to support the show, you can send a star on via Facebook. I don't know exactly how it works, but you should all research it and find out. We've got some people here. Anita, hello, welcome. Rebecca Jonesy, yay, thank you. That's very sweet. Nikki, oh, good. It's always better when you say mean things and the person is there watching,
Exactly.
which I did not mean. I'm really a behind the back kind of person, but oh well. I mean, I'm glad you're here anyway.
I think you should leave that for a different show, Ron.
Anita, Anita thought I was going to say babysit children and that the apocalypse had arrived. No, I do not want to babysit your children. If you mail me, um, and this is a great question. So far, one of the pets has been returned, the dog. The chickens, I don't know. It might have been a trick to get me to take their chickens, which would be fine. I like chickens, so what the heck. And I assume this is referencing the fact that her husband is a jerk and treats her poorly, and she loves that. So,
Yes.
oh yeah, confirmed. There we are. And now some of the people watching the show are talking to each other in the comments, which I always love um, when they're
I
not paying
hate it.
attention to us. And they,
I hate it. I wish they would just not talk to each other at all. Just sit in silence and listen to us.
yeah, no, that would be respectful.
Right.
But our first book to review is The Signal Out of Space. Ah, book one of the This Fine Crew series by Mike Jack Stumbos. And I will tell you what it's about. It's basically a I don't know, introducing a bunch of characters. They're going through school. It's like Harry Potter in space, I guess.
Right.
They're all these aliens and humans are getting together to start a new group, a new, I don't know, interstellar group. for exploration, and the main characters are all cadets going through that process, and then
Yes.
shit happens,
Yeah.
and hilarity ensues. Well, not hilarity maybe, but stuff happens. I don't want to spoil anything, but
You definitely haven't spoiled a thing.
I think that's perfect. All right, now we're going to talk about things we like. I will start by saying that I like no more than three main characters in a science fiction book. Uh, as I age, I find that I only have the brain power to remember up to three main characters, and I struggle with the empathy to even care about more than one. So this book, which I think had five main characters, and I made a note at the time that I was reading, but we're moving, so good luck finding anything. But anyway, book had, I believe, five main characters, which meant I was constantly forgetting who two of them were. My advice: follow Star Trek, the original series, and don't have so many main characters. Star Trek had Captain Kirk, Spock, and Dr. McCoy. The other characters were all just supporting roles. There was the guy who drives the ship, uh, a lady who used the space phone, a mechanic or something, and then some Russian guy, I think. I can't even, well, if I can't remember all of the Star Trek characters, and they are from Star Trek, uh, I don't know how I can possibly be expected to remember all the people and aliens in this book. I couldn't, which was sad because otherwise the author did a bunch of things right. There was a story with a plot and everything. So for the next book in the series, and I understand there are like four out right now, but for the next one, my advice to Mike Jack would be to do something like Castaway, where Tom Hanks is the only guy in the vast majority of the movie. Um, I mean, I totally remember him. I wouldn't use Tom Hanks as the character, though. I would use one of the hundreds that you made for this first book. So,
Yeah.
um, based on that, I have to give this book 0 out of one appropriate number of main characters. So,
I'm really
how about you?
intrigued I'm really intrigued that you think that people drive spaceships, by the way, instead of fly them. Like that really tickles my fancy.
Well, I will say that in my science fiction series, they do drive the spaceship because it's a New Earth spaceship and it's not very advanced. So,
Is it like the RV spaceship from Spaceballs?
no, I mean, in a way, it actually is similar to a certain type of very nice spaceship, uh, but they basically just copied the look of it and made it 4 times bigger, and then
Hmm.
it doesn't handle well. Um, it might be a stick shift. I'm no, okay, it's
Right.
not a stick shift.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
how about you? What do you like, Mr. Green?
Now I'm thinking that I really like Spaceballs, and I wish that all story, not just this story in this book, but all stories were more like Spaceballs. But for this particular one, the title intrigued me because it had signal in it, and I like signals like the WOW signal, or interstellar radio messages, or the Arecibo message, and other conspiracy theory type signals that are made up by lonely high people in their mother's basements, and are obsessed about for the years and years and decades. And there are none of them in this book. So when there are signals, sorry, I have COVID, so I'm very sorry.
It's okay.
uh,
You're very dedicated
I'm very
to
dedicated.
show up.
So while there are signals in this book, they're all explained, and I do not like that. I want all of my signals to be inexplicable, and for people to argue about them on the internet when there is many more important things going on in the earth. So I think for the rest of the series that is already written, unless he's going to write another one, he needs to introduce more signals that are just garbled radio messages from different countries, and make conspiracy theories about it. So because of this, I'm going to have to give this book 0 out of 2,700,000 mental conspiracy theories about signals on the internet.
Um, okay. There are more books in the series. They don't all have the same title.
I don't
signal
care.
out of space. just an FYI for you. And then I've been putting up some comments, and I just, yeah, stories are the worst. All writers agree. Stories are the worst.
Yes.
And then here, uh, see, Wilson was a prop in the movie. Um, he wasn't really a character, but I mean, in my opinion, poor Wilson. Well, that is true.
It's true.
Yes, I agree. David is sick. One sick son of a bitch. And
Like,
then
that is
coming
very
here to be
true.
mean from that's the show. That is the whole
Yes.
um that save your ass kissing when we get to your segment.
I enjoy being mean anyway, to be fair.
Ugh, amen.
No, isn't it the
Amen.
best?
I I think so. I think so. Yeah, that's all right. Let's move on to things we don't like. I don't like Flight Simulator, the Microsoft game. I played one of the first ones, like almost 40 years ago, and I couldn't get the hang of it, so I never tried again. Like, I still play Tetris sometimes because I'm good at that. Anyway, there's a lot of flight simulators in the book, so it brought back a lot of bad memories. I like to pretend that things that resulted in bad memories never happened. So it really pissed me off that it kept bringing up all these awful, awful memories. I mean, you guys can relax. I'm not still mad, but I do have to give this book 0 out of 243 Tetrises. Um,
Yes.
how about you, David? What
I
don't
have
you
a
like?
question first, though.
Oh, sure.
Did you say 40 years ago or 400 years ago? Because either is
40.
very, very plausible. Oh, 40. Okay. Um,
I would look pretty good if I was for a 400-year-old.
you
Um,
look about you look about 400. To be fair.
oh, you do like being mean. Um, all right. Go ahead and share with us what you don't like. I'll even make you
Well,
big. Boom.
Ron. Stop telling people you like to make me big. Come on, we're in a public theatre here.
Uh,
Um, I dislike being this size. I dislike space and the general idea of space. It continuously grows. That's what she said, which is freakish. Um, it's mind-bogglingly freakish that it's continuing to grow, and its size is literally massive. We don't know how big space is. It is so big, and it keeps getting bigger. It's just not on. I hate it. It's dark. It's cold. It has no oxygen, and it would kill all of us without mercy. Like literally, our star, the sun, could have exploded, and we won't even know. We could just be doing this with the sun exploded, and we're about to die, and we would just all die together. That's what space is like. Now, this book takes place exclusively in space or on another planet. So, with that in mind,
boom.
I would have to give it 0 out of 217 roving black holes that scientists reckon are in the universe that are moving and could swallow us into a gravity well at any given time.
Well, that was bleak. That was great. Uh, very, very nice. Um,
It's true. I hate it.
yeah, there's a lot to read into that, I think, for the viewers. Um, all right. Let's move on to things we can talk about the book without spoiling the book. And for me, I like the name of the series, This Fine Crew, because it's a Galaxy Quest reference, and I love that movie. So I really liked that. I mean, I'm human. I like when people like what I like. Not too many people, but just the right amount of people. And I prefer if they let me know that they like what I like in a sly way. And I feel like that is what Mike Jack accomplished with his series name. How about you, David? What's
You
something you can
is it true that you cosplay as Galaxy Quest characters, all of them at the same time?
all of them? That would be quite impressive. Uh, no, I don't cosplay technically. Although my wife and I do have a collection of costumes because we love going to costume parties. So I have a ton of what should be embarrassing photos of me in all these costumes, but instead I think I look great. I even won
You
an
need
award
to.
once. I
You did.
won a best costume award at a charity event. They're normally charity events. My favorite charity events are costume parties, because that's what charity is all about. Having
Is
enough
the
money to dress up in clothes you wouldn't normally wear. Uh,
was the charity in your honor?
no, nope. But I love feeling better about myself. You know, which I do when we
All right. I
talk
think
about
you
the
need to
people the
bring these.
charity is for.
You need to bring these photos on at some point.
I should put a bunch of them on my website.
You
That would
should.
be cathaldi.com. Yeah, a gallery of me wearing costumes. There's some some great ones. All right. But
Okay.
now, please, what do you like, or what can you talk about that you like that won't ruin the story?
Well, I like how this book has POV chapters and scenes from the point of view of non-human characters, which I think isn't very often done in any form of sci-fi media. It's always the humans that are always front and center, and the alien characters are always kind of the side characters. And I thought it was very well done, and it's quite refreshing to read when an author um, takes a chance and goes and tries to delve into the mind of an alien.
Mm.
He does actually. He's told me that before.
Ah, yes, indeed, exactly. Nice. Not the way it should have, to be honest. I see. Well, this show's getting better and better. All
It's
right.
kind of in the way that most go indie now shows go, really, does it?
The ones I'm involved with, yes, that is very true. All right, it's time. It's ratings time. I give The Signal Out of Space, This Fine Crew, Book One by Mike Jack Stumbos, um, a third of a star. Um, yeah. How about you, David? What portion of a star do you give it?
I would also give it a third of a star.
All right. Well, there's one more comment before we go to our next little bit. Well, thank you. I'm sure we all appreciate your permission. That is great. I can't wait to tell my wife when we're in bed next that Nikki approves of whatever we do.
That'll be on your birth. That's on your birthday, isn't it, Ron?
That should really not every year. Sometimes. All right, let's get to know David Green, author David Green, just a tiny bit better. We'll make him gigantic again. Ooh. So please tell us all about yourself and your writing. The show can go as long as you want.
I did not know this was going to happen. I forgot that we had to do this. We're going on here.
We don't have. We don't have to. You get to. You get to know people. You get to tell you.
Look, the people on here don't know we have private messages, and you're frantically messaging me now saying you have to do it. Hello there. I am David Green. I am living in. Wonderful. Thanks for that. Thanks, Ron. I live in Galway, Ireland. I am from Manchester in the UK as well, but I have not lived there for a long time. I write epic fantasy. I have one series called the Empire of Ruin series, which the third book is out in 3 weeks' time or so. And the final book in the series is going to be out in September. And I also do an urban fantasy series called Hell in Haven, which has been on this the last season of Mean Reviews, and people were very, very mean about it, and they were correct with whatever it was they said. And you can find out more about me on my website, which is www.davidgreenwriter.com.
Sorry, the comments are more interesting than the show, really, right now.
Right.
So I did want to say, yeah, we're going to be reviewing the third book right around the time it's released.
That's true.
So that'll be exciting. I'm Ron Lahr. I host several shows on the Go Indie Now channel, including this one right here that I'm on hosting right now. I also host a game show called Indie Mayhem, where the contestants are either indie authors or musicians or involved in indie film or TV, web shows and stuff. I also cook and bake. I garden. I write. I write fantasy, science fiction, and humor. Usually, I mix a couple of those together. All my books are available on the Amazon. But now it is time for book 2. Oh, I need to get back over here. Boo. Here we are. Bittersweet Empathy, Book 1, The Spiral, by Nikki DeCaster. There we go. And David has generously agreed to provide the very short synopsis for this book.
This is true. So this is a book with words inside of it, printed on the pages, and the book tells a story about a character called Amy Doreen, who is a teenager that gets up to teenage shenanigans with her best friend. And what starts off as what you would think is kind of a YA good time between teenage friends getting up to shenanigans becomes a horrific, mind-boggling journey, spiral, some might say, into madness because of awakening powers in this teenage girl. And it is a very inventive and creative and fun if you like torment and horror, which I do.
Yeah, who doesn't? Nikki sent me a physical copy of the book, which I like and is very smart. I believe people can learn a lot from Nikki. Not about writing, of course, but about other useful stuff like bribing and ass kissing. So,
Yes.
But right now, let's get right into the things that we like. I like growing way more food than my family can possibly eat. I've done that for years, and each year I grow more. This year I'm just going to grow. I'm going to grow like 3 times as much as last year. The excess we just give away or feed it to the animals. So why do I do that? I mean, I love eating, and food is great for eating. If you're going to eat, food is the thing, as far as I'm concerned. But why the need to grow more every year? My wife used to hold me back, but she has kind of given up, and now she started watching some Danish woman on YouTube who gardens, and now she has joined me in Crazy Town and has been encouraging my ridiculous behavior. And we've been married for over 15 years, and the roles we had defined in the marriage were I would come up with crazy ideas all the time, and she would stop them. She would say no. But now she's almost as bad as I am, and it's very confusing. So I turned to what I thought was a self-help book. I mean, Bittersweet Empathy, Book 1, The Spiral, which is where I thought my wife and I were on a downward spiral into gardening craziness.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, I needed a self-help book. It turns out this is not a self-help book, not even a little bit. So because of that, because I was wrong, I'm awarding it 0 out of 1 Dr. Phil's.
Mm-hmm.
And David, what do you like?
Well, I have to I have to start by saying that about something I kind of dislike, and that is I dislike churches. I don't like the idea of them. I don't like the buildings, and I don't like what they represent. However, I feel that people, except for me, should respect churches. This book has no respect for churches whatsoever. I think we can both agree on this.
Yes.
Many blasphemous, and some might say fun things, which is very, very ironic, seeing as this comment has just come up. Many fun things happen in churches. Some of them, not even when churches are closed, or there's no one inside the churches. There are other people enjoying mass and other such things in the church. So because of this blasphemous carry-on, I'm going to have to give it 0 out of 174 popes.
Oh, welcome back. Great. Now we need to talk about what we don't like. I don't like teenagers. Their brains aren't even fully developed. They are basically just older children, and I have not been shy about how little I like children, or how much I dislike children, or both. So right off the bat, I was unhappy. And female teenagers are apparently the worst of the lot, because if I remember correctly, there was a lot of stuff in this book about periods and other lady parts business that as a man I find quite disgusting. So yeah, as a as a result, I have to give it 0 out of, I don't know, 8 billion adults.
Right. There is
What
about 8 billion people.
Yeah, I
8
forgot.
billion would be a lot of people.
Yeah. Out of the percentage of 8 billion people that are adults.
Right.
I don't feel like doing math today, or
Yes.
research. That's just not how I work.
I understand.
Reads my books would know. No research involved. All right. What about you? What don't you like, David Green?
I would just like to respond to a comment from Rebecca about telling him you're sending a paperback is a brilliant ploy to get his home address. Ron will give anyone his home address. All you have to do. You don't even have to ask for it. You can just say to him, like, how are you today, Ron? And he gives you his home address.
That's the only way people are going to come to drop off their pets for me to house your pet sit.
And eat all of the food that you keep growing, the too much food that you're growing.
I do like to feed people. That is true. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what I dislike, it was a Catholic church. You are correct. You wrote the book, so you would know. I dislike empathy in all forms. This book has a lot of empathy. In fact, the main character, Amy, has empathic abilities. However, I believe this backs up my hatred of empathy, because Amy has such a terrible time in this book, and I put it all down to the cause of having empathy. And I believe The Spiral by Nikki DeCaster shows the folly of caring about anyone or what anyone else thinks. So with that in mind, because it is all about empathy and someone who develops empathic powers, I'm going to have to give this 0 fucks out of 20 billion fucks.
Perfect. Sorry, I got caught up in reading the comments. All right. Well, thank you for that. It is now time for us to talk about things we can talk about that we liked about the book without spoiling the plot. Would you care to go first, David?
I would. There is because I believe what you're going to talk about happens chronologically after what I'm going to talk about, which is perfect. So there's a chapter later on in the book, maybe towards the start of the 3rd act of the book, which I think is one of the greatest pieces of writing I've actually ever come across from in any book. Actually, it's really inventive. It's really brave. And it has a level of skill that, as a writer myself, I wish that I could pull off. Because I remember reading this and thinking, one, like, how has Nikki accomplished this and pulled it off to a point where it actually makes sense and I can follow it and track it. And also, I could never, ever, ever write a scene like this. So it's an excellent scene.
I must have skipped that part. But the thing I like that I can talk about without ruining the book is there is a surprise death in the book. And I don't want to spoil anything, so I won't say who it is. But I will say that Nikki really killed the shit out of this character. I mean, it was awesome. and gross. It was just delightful. Um, Best death in a book that I've read in a very long time. I very much enjoyed it. Kudos to the author. I guess writers can learn something from Nikki after all. So yeah,
Perhaps.
perhaps. So now let's look at the comments real quick. I mean, I'm addicted to these things.
You love them. You just love them.
I'm you know I'm all right. Velzania, I do want, in particular, Charity Ayers, who is so mean about Velveeta. I do want to make foods with Velveeta, and Velzania is the best one. So yes, I should make Velzania and just have some in my freezer all the time, so anybody comes over, I can make them eat it. That would be great. Yeah, that's what should happen. Yeah. Now we do always have the things ready to make Velzania, so I guess you know well, it's not only this. Okay, so holly and mistletoe reds. Be careful if you drop by; he'll foist or give you a truckload of veggies. That's true, and also eggs. We gave away about 40 dozen eggs, which, considering how much the price has risen in the United States in the last year, people should be
And that's
happy about
because
it.
of all the chickens that people keep sending you in the post as well.
Well, I have a lot of chickens already, but I actually use the eggs to get people to take the vegetables. Like, do you want a free dozen eggs? Then you have to take this crate of, zucchini and whatever. All right. Great point. Empathy is a curse. I mean, I don't know that from experience, but that's what I've read. That is a good idea.
What was it? Zero fucks.
Yeah. Yeah. That was nice. We'll edit that out.
Yeah.
Um,
Pity it's live.
well, you can fix it and then upload an
Oh,
improved
can you
version.
really?
And
Oh, it's very
yeah,
interesting.
now
Okay.
you get a local copy of it. And I can cut that out, and then I'll put something. I'll leave you talking, and I'll just record new audio.
Right.
It won't
Okay.
it won't be very nice. Um, then this is definitely the book for you. Fresh veggies are awesome. Yes. I guess that is a good point.
That
I
is
feel very
true.
threatened, so that's perfect. All right.
Yes.
So now it's time for the actual awarding of less than a full star to the book. I'll go first. I give Bittersweet Empathy, Book One, The Spiral by Nikki DeCaster, 1/4 of a star since it was not a self-help book and is in about teenage girls. And I was going to give it a 1/16 of a star, but that awesome death scene really saved it. So,
Hmm.
David, what portion of a star are you going to give it?
Well, because of the content of this book, I think there's only one score that it can get, and that is 1/69th of a star.
All right. Well, then, there we are. I'm going to kick David out now that we've reviewed our two books, and then I will personally thank him in the outro. So I won't bother to do it now. But all right, goodbye, Mr. Green. All right, what a new thing for this season is that after me and the guest host review two indie projects, I give the same treatment to some famous non-indie book, movie, TV show, album, etc. for some variety. And today, in honor of the Oscars just airing a couple of days ago, I'd like to review the only Oscar winner that I actually saw, Everything Everywhere All at Once. I mean, I did see Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, but it only won for best costumes or costume design. So I feel like that doesn't really count. So, but maybe I'll review that film later. I don't know. But this film, Everything Everywhere All at Once, follows Evelyn Wang, a Chinese American immigrant who must connect with parallel universe versions of herself to prevent a powerful being from destroying the multiverse. Um, so I'm going to start off with what I like. I like staying at home. I'm a homebody. So you can imagine how little appeal all this multiverse hopping around has for me. I just want to work in my garden and take care of my goats and chickens while also cooking and baking and managing to sneak in some writing. Uh, I definitely don't want the pressure of saving the entire universe. I like watching TV. Ultimately, this movie was full of things I don't like. IRS audits, people attacking the main character over and over again. So I give it 0 out of 19 home sweet homes. Um, to move on to what I don't like. I don't like the idea that there are other versions of me who made better life choices and enjoyed greater success in life. I mean, do I regret any of the choices I've made over the approximately 53.3 years that I've been alive? Of course, tons of them. But like most people, I try to ignore all of those bad choices and be happy with the mess I've made of my life, searching for the meager happiness I can squeeze out of this shit show that I'm experiencing right now, trying to pretend I haven't wasted all of my opportunities. So I give it 0 out of 7 best possible me's. The things I could talk about that I like without spoiling the movie. My favorite thing about Everything Everywhere All at Once is that Jamie Lee Curtis trash talked about the other multiverse movie released at the time, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Um, it just made me an even bigger Jamie Lee Curtis fan. I did love the acting, the performances in the movie, and I thought the casting was great. But sadly, it only gets 0.314 stars from me, and only that much because it is Pi Day today. So that's it. That is the show. Um, here comes that outro I was talking about. Oh, I forgot to do this. There we go. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Mean Reviews, No Stars Given. Please like this show and subscribe to the Go Indie Now channel. The first order of business is to thank this week's co-host,
International sex symbol, David Green.
As usual, you were fantastic. How did I get so lucky? God only knows. Please buy all of their work because they so richly deserve it. I can't wait until you come over so I can make you a meal from ingredients we grow in our gigantic garden. See you soon. And to the 2 indie writers, filmmakers, musicians, or whatever who trusted me to review your work with all the respect it deserves, thank you very much. I appreciate your boundless optimism. So,
The Signal Out of Space by Mike Jax Gumbos.
And also,
Bittersweet Empathy by Nikki DeKester.
Thank you so very much. Please buy all of their stuff to reward them for their bravery. And remember,
it's always time to go indie now.